Welcome to it, sports fans. It is Monday, the 25th of January, 2021. 2021. I'm MKT. This is the MKT Show on Cliff Central Sport. Great to have you with us. Big day. Big day. If you're into the football, in fact, in the sporting world, there is only one story today. Cannot wait to get to it. Big day. Big day. Frank Lampard, officially an ex-Chelsea executive, an ex-Chelsea head coach, and it's all over. The fairy tale is over at Stamford Bridge. And hey, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is our Roman roll. So listen, I'm gonna tell you why Chelsea fans should be happy about this. I'm a Chelsea fan myself, but I had a long think about it, went and read some articles. And I'll tell you why Chelsea fans should be happy about it. That's all we're going to talk about today. Chelsea sack Frank Lampard. Listen, MKT inspires on social media. Be a friend, tell a friend. Otherwise, Cliff Central Sport on all social media platforms. Otherwise, you can go and find us at Cliff C Sport. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll talk this thing through. Welcome to it, Monday, 25th, the COVID year 2021. You've made it. You've survived. If you are here today, you've done well. You've survived the first month of it's supposed to be, oh my God, we forgot about Corona. Well, you've done it. Congratulations. You've survived 25 days of the next month. All right. Listen, this is Gareth Cliff, by the way. For those listening on the podcast, you won't know that I'm pointing to Gareth Cliff, who is physically distancing from me. Thanks for joining me. MKT here, MKT Sport. Let's get into it. I think there is only one story to talk about today. It is the sacking of Frank Lampard. So before I get into that, listen. So I come from a family, a very strict father, very, very strict. But strict parents are awful for kids. Like when you're the kid and your parents are really, really strict, like really, really strict. Like my dad was like really final level strict. And that was awful as a child. So when I'm the child, I'm emotional. It's all about me. Is why can't I play as much PlayStation as one? Why can't I sleep over? Like, you know what kids are like. When your parents are strict, it's awful as a child. Because as a child, you go into your emotions, right? But ultimately, what children want, we know now, psychoanalysis, is children love consistency. You can have a divorced home as long as there's consistency. You know when you're going to mom, you know where you're spending Christmas, it's fine as long as there's consistency. Now, I come from a home of divorce, super strict father, but always consistent. So Roman sacked Frank Lampard today. 18 months, 57 games, and it didn't go great. Let's be honest. First season, all right, overachieved, right? But if you're a Chelsea fan, what's happened, I think, is everyone's gotten emotional. Lampard, hero, player, how could he do this? Not again. Because we have something called recency bias. So to Chelsea fans and football fans, it feels like, oh, there go Chelsea again. It's unstable. It's a mess. It's Lampard. It's emotional. And the word fan stands for fanatical. So there is no logic and reason when you are fanatical. So what you want to do is also realize Chelsea's a business. Roman Abramovich, an orphan, worked his way from an orphanage in Russia to the very top of Russian society. How he did it? Listen, I'm not a moralist. I've always said this. I'm not a moralist. Life's hard. Life's not perfect. Not everybody grows up in suburbia with mom, dad, picket fence, 2 dogs. Life's hard. But to make it from an orphanage to being Vladimir Putin's right-hand man, business, all the time, all winning, whatever it costs. I'm not going to feel, I'm going to get to the top. All right. Here's the thing about Roman Abramovich is he has been one thing and one thing only. And at this stage, people must stop saying Roman Abramovich is ruthless. What he is consistent. Like the strict parent, he is consistent. So it feels unstable for those who get emotional. What he is consistent. There's one rule. You win or you go. So listen, in life, people will give you money for 2 reasons. Right? is they'll give you money to hang yourself. So it's the rope to hang yourself or pull yourself up. Now, Roman Abramovich comes from a space. Think of what this guy did, orphanage to becoming the right-hand man of one of the most powerful human beings in history. Right? He is a man who pulled himself up. So in his mind, if I give you the resources, because as a child, I had nothing, if I give you the resources, pull yourself up. If you can't do it, I don't want to hear it. I was an orphan. Here I am today as one of the wealthiest, most powerful people in history. What Roman Abramovich is not ruthless. He's consistent. Never, ever. Listen, in life, when you get upset with people, right? When they are who they are, that's on you. Don't be upset at people who are who they are. Be upset at yourself for being upset. If your girlfriend cheats on you 5 times, don't be upset. Be upset that you're upset. You're the problem. The 5th time your girlfriend cheats on you, you're the problem for being upset. Don't get upset at people for being who they are. Roman Abramovich is not ruthless. He is consistent. And what he has been consistent with is winning. In the 18 years, 2003, July 2003, he changed the face of world football forever. He changed the face of British football forever, and it's never been the same. But since then, no club has been more successful than his beloved Chelsea. 5 Premier League titles, 5 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, a Champions League, 2 Europa Leagues, and only 1 of 8 teams in the history of British football to win a league and an FA Cup double. 18 years, 16 major cups. Listen, it's not a blip anymore. Yes, you're going to get they bought the league, they bought their history. Man United outspent the league before Roman arrived. So you could say Man United bought their history as well. Don't give me that. Fergie broke the record for Keane. Don't give me that. He broke the world record for Juan Ferron. He broke the world record for Rio Ferdinand. Don't tell me Fergie did it with the kids. I watched football. I've been watching football since I was 6 years old. Don't tell me that. You win with money. You win with stars. Fergie has always done that. Right? Let's not pretend he won with Ryan Giggs and the kids. 16 major trophies, 18 years. Roman Abramovich is not ruthless. Stop saying that. He is consistent. Children need consistency. Chelsea are as consistent as it gets. Undefeated, unmatched in the previous 18 years in English football. No club, 16 major cups in 18 years. Go and look it up. Go and look it up. Listen, it's harsh, but it's consistent. Like the strict parent, you'll thank them when you're 30 and you got some structure in your life. You know how to be an adult. Chelsea are a pretty stable organization. I would argue outside of Bayern Munich and Barcelona, probably the best run club in European football. Now, you get emotional because you romanticize the idea, the notion of the manager must be in charge. I say this. Chelsea have done magnificently to be ahead of the curve, to avoid a mistake that the most successful clubs in England over the last 20 years before him made. Arsenal and Manchester United made the age-old British error. Right? And what is that mistake? They had a manager-centric model. Every other club in Europe, the big clubs, they move forward. Man United, they stuck with Fergie and never planned ahead. Arsenal, it was all Wenger all the time. What happened when they left? You tell me, what happened when Arsene Wenger left 17 years ago? They've been nonsense. What happened when you gave the whole club to a manager and not the owner? You ask Man United fans, 8 years later, it's 8 years since Fergie left. This is not like a little thing anymore. It's been 8 years since the richest football club in the world has not come close to a Premier League title. You know why? It's because in England, they love the manager, and I don't get it. Roman Abramovich changed the game years ago. Man United didn't adjust. Arsenal didn't adjust. 17 years later for Arsenal, it is now a mess. 2004 was the last time Arsenal came close to the league. Well, won the league. They have not been the same since. Man United 8 years ago, Fergie went. There are 4 managers in and not been close. And in the last 8 years, Man United have been in the Europa League 6 times. Chelsea are not ruthless. They are consistent. Folks, this is the way to do it. And if you don't believe me, who are the 2 teams that everybody loves in the world? So let's take conjecture out of it. Let's take our feelings out of it. Real Madrid and Bayern Munich over the last 25 years are unparalleled. And who's the most powerful person at those 2 places? Before it was Calderon at Real Madrid, it's Florentino Perez now. Real Madrid change managers like they change underwear. They went 3 Champions League titles in a row. They are the club. They are unstoppable. Bayern Munich, who's the most powerful man at Bayern Munich? Not the manager. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who is the most powerful man in world football. Not the FIFA president, not UEFA president. Everybody listens to Rummenigge. You get to Bayern Munich. Pep Guardiola lasted 2 seasons. Get the hell out. Nobody cares. A year later, they were in the Champions League final. Nobody cares. Pep Guardiola, probably the best manager of all time. Get out. We don't care. Champions League treble. Hansi Flick stepped in the middle of the season. They won a historic treble. So don't tell me it's about the manager. Folks, it is time to let go of romanticism. You know, the British idea of the authoritarian father-like figure. It's changed. Arsenal and Man United are analog products in a digital time. They're a telecom landline in a cell phone era. That model is dead. And if you don't believe me, ask any single Man United fan, Arsenal fan out there. Tell me you wouldn't swap the model that Man City have and Chelsea have for success over the last 10 years. You want to beat Chelsea over the last 18 years. Because, listen, I've seen Man United the last 8 years. You had a manager-centric model. It's been shocking. And by the way, it's not like they've had bums as managers either. David Moyes is probably top 5 Premier League managers of all time. Louis van Gaal is one of the greatest managers football has ever seen. He took a bunch of teenagers and won the Champions League in the 90s when it was impossible to beat Italian teams. By the way, go and look up that Ajax team if you don't know what I'm talking about. And Jose Mourinho is Jose Mourinho. 2 trebles in different countries, one with Porto, one with Inter Milan. He's a different league. So Man United haven't had bums, but when you make the manager the most important person at the club in 2021, it is a dead model. If you're a Chelsea fan, you should be delighted. Roman is consistent. The empire is the Roman Empire. It doesn't matter who the manager is. Real Madrid win with it, Bayern Munich win with it, Barcelona win with it. That is the model. That is the way football went 15 years ago. Man United never heard that. And I tell you what, Man United, I know, are in denial. But really what they are is like Nokia, right? Is they've got an identity crisis. Because Nokia wanted to make cell phones and then pads, iPad-style sort of surfaces. And then they wanted to make this. And then the business model crashed. And then iPhone came along. And then they were dead. Man City's iPhone. Right? They're the BlackBerry. Man United's the BlackBerry. Man City's the iPhone. Chelsea's the iPhone. This is the model. Roman Abramovich is being consistent. And the aim is to win. The aim is not to be liked. Man United, Arsenal, I'm afraid they're in an identity crisis. They don't know what to do without the daddy figure. The daddy figure has to be the owner. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge at Bayern Munich and Florentino Perez at Real Madrid make that statement absolutely true, no matter how you feel. Chelsea want to avoid being Man United or Arsenal. Chelsea don't want to be in 8 years' time not having won a title or competed. They don't want to be in 17 years' time like Arsenal not having competed because they felt emotionally tied to a player. Folks, this league is, what have you done for me lately? I'm sorry, Lampard had to go because he's not important to the business model. As long as Roman is there, that is the business model. As long as Karl-Heinz Rummenigge is there, that is the business model. As long as Florentino Perez is there, that is the business model. Arsenal, Man United are VHS tapes. Chelsea, Man City on Netflix. Those are my thoughts. You got to move on. This English idea that the manager is important, the manager is everything. What happened to Arsenal? What happened to Man United? United haven't come close. I don't care how emotional you get about it. It's been 8 years. And by the way, in that time, Man United have only spent spent the second highest budget in the league to Man City. So it's not like United haven't spent. They've broken the world record for Martial, Maguire, Pogba, Fred, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Lindelof, Shaw. So it's not like they're not buying. It's just been a disaster because the manager was king. All right, let's take some comments. Jesse Randolph says, will we see an English manager win the BPL? Lampard was the first. We will not. We will not, because I think still they're obsessed with being Fergie and Wenger style sort of authoritarian managers. What you have to be now is a Carlo Ancelotti type chameleon. Right? Carlo can go anywhere. Real Madrid, PSG, doesn't matter. The continental model is you have to work with the director of football and your role is to coach. You don't need a manager anymore, right? It's a different time. Your role is just to coach, let the director of football take over proceedings, and really the club must be at the center and no longer the manager. The Fergie and Wenger thing was an anomaly, right? Everybody else, it's been movement. No other club has been that. And when Wenger and Fergie left, what's happened? So I don't think so, because who the English managers? There's none left. There are no young ones because they can't coach. They want to manage, and that time is over. Brendan Gittins say you cannot build anything without time. So Brendan, you know, I think we've made this error. So we look at Man United and we go, that's the way to do it. The reality is, folks, if you did any basic stats in university, Man United are an anomaly, right? Every other team in the league, go and look at every other team. It's been a merry-go-round. Man United are an anomaly. You may never see that again in football. Forget about just England. I'm willing to say in the top 3 divisions in English football, you may never see 26 years again. You may never see 15 years again. You may never see that. Pep Guardiola left Barcelona. And I'm afraid, Brennan, this is where I think I have to disagree with you. Zinedine Zidane came in, first season, won the treble. The secret, I'm afraid, Brendan, is you got to spend now. If you want to win, spend. And also, don't make it about the manager. You spend on a system and you spend on a cycle. Real Madrid have done it. You've seen it. They spend in cycles. It's a 5-year cycle. I think they're recycling at the moment, and it's been tough for them. But I'm afraid you don't get time anymore. What you get is money. And when you spend money, here's what you do. And it's what happened to Lampard, I'm afraid, is you say, all right, the learning curve's over. You got to win now. That's why Tuchel didn't last at PSG, I'm afraid, is we've spent the money and you've got 2 of the hottest properties in world football and you can't take us to the promised land. Get the hell out. Pep Guardiola got 2 seasons, 2 and a bit seasons. Let's call it 3. His 3rd season was really a write-off at Bayern Munich. Pep Guardiola. And people say he left. They told him, get the hell out. We tired. Once you got De Kaiser coming out and saying, we don't like the tiki-taka, get out. Pep Guardiola, 3 years. Pep Guardiola got 3 years. It was 3 years at Barcelona. There is no more time. Nobody gets time. Carlo Ancelotti didn't get time at Chelsea. If he got Jose Mourinho, he got 2.5 years at Real Madrid. If those guys at Man United, the very club that says, oh, we build our history on Fergie. Folks, Fergie was an anomaly. If you're a Man United fan, understand now you're actually being forced into the new world because the business model was broken. It's not about the manager anymore. It's about a director of football, and the club must just run. You know who's the next model if they can really go to the next level? Wolves is the model. Get a super agent, get a director of football. That's the way to go, I'm afraid. Borussia Dortmund, what's the model? Director of football, the fans own the club, it's club-centric. We don't care who manages, we play a certain way, get on with it. So, Brennan, I'm afraid that time of idealizing the manager, I think it's a very British notion. I think that time is over. Jesse says, Roman invested a lot of money. He sacked Jose, so he'll sack anyone. He wants immediate results. Do you think Tuchel is the guy? I do not. I think Tuchel will be gone in 15 months, but it's the way of the world. It's the way of the world. I think what's happened is you got to get the best out of the German kids. Right? He's got, even Pulisic really is a German kid because he did his football education in Germany is you got to get the best out of the German kids. And at the moment, who better? Because you couldn't get Hasenhüttl from Southampton, because that's who you'd really want. You can't get the Wunderkind in Nagelsmann, because I think you'd probably have to give the GDP of Germany to get him. And from what I read, you can only get him at the end of the season. Who's the next one who's German? Because you got to get Havertz, right? You got to get Havertz. You got to get Werner firing. Rudiger's one of the leaders in the dressing room. You got to get Pulisic firing. Those are the German kids. You've got to get the German kids right. You've spent on the Bundesliga talent, and probably the next thing you want to do is get Haaland. So, I mean, he's Norwegian, but you got to get that German system right. You got to get a guy who knows what's coming. What this tells me is they're positioning for Haaland, and we're saying Havertz is the center of the club. Werner is the center of the club, and it's got to go that way. Do I think he's the guy? I don't. But quite frankly, Jesse, after thinking about it, reading articles, and watching the global landscape, I love Roman Abramovich, because I've always said this, right? I've always said I always want to dislike my leaders. I love to dislike a little bit of my leader. Angela Merkel has something you dislike about her. You know why you want to dislike your leader, like Roman Abramovich? You're seeing a good example of it. And this for me is a favorite part of my leaders, because leadership's a lonely place. At some stage, your leader must not want to be a cool person. I don't like cool leaders who want to be friends with everybody, because at some stage, the leader is going to have to make a decision, the right decision, which is against the majority vote. Most of Chelsea want Lampard to stay. He's not ready for this project. So Roman Abramovich is not trying to be cool. So Jesse, my point is this. I don't think you need a guy at coach anymore. Just have the right ownership, have the right director of football, and get somebody who can coach. If they can't coach, move on. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Hansi Flick was there for 6 months. He took them to the treble. Right? Roberto Di Matteo was there for 6 months. Well, call it 10 months with the previous season. He won the FA Cup and Champions League double. Chelsea have been here before. So I don't think Tuchel's the guy. He's done nothing to prove that to me. It was a disaster at Dortmund. It was a disaster at PSG. I mean, it's the Farmers League. I expect you to win when you're 10 times as good. They've probably got 3 teams that could win Liga. So no, I don't think Tuchel's the guy, but it is what it is. Brendan Griffiths, Ancelotti would be the man for a second term. Brendan, I have a rule. I'm not sure if you've watched this show before. I always believe, and I didn't like when we went back to Jose. Brendan, I have a rule in life. Never go back to your ex, because the reason you broke up will always exist. It'll never be the same. He won us the league and cup double. It'll never be the same. Just like I don't think it's going to work at Real Madrid. Something's going to happen with Zidane. It's never the same the second time. My rule is don't get into your feelings. You see your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend with a guy who's much more handsome than you at the shops, and you guys are chatting, and then you get emotional, but then she's still the same old person who's got her emotional problems, but you forget that because you see her looking good at the shops, right? Is you get into your feelings. Don't get into your feelings. The reason you broke up with somebody will always exist. Don't go there. Carlo had his time. Everything has its time. And I don't mean that in a woo-woo sense. It was good then. Let it go. He's moved on. You've moved on. It's never as good. Nothing is ever as good the second time. Never. So I wouldn't like Carlo back. And I'm a Chelsea guy. So Gutle says, I think Chelsea should have waited till the summer. The manager market would have been better. Gutle, that's fair enough if you think a manager is still important. I think a coach is more important. Honestly, I'm over the British model of get a Wenger, get a... Folks, tell me one other club, right? Even Man City. What's been the model? Pellegrini, Mancini, they were winning. Get Mancini winning, out. Pellegrini winning, out. Pep Guardiola, probably a season or two more. TikTok. You don't win the league this season, this next season. And listen, he doesn't win the Champions League this season. I think they may be heading over to De Wunderkind. You can expect, I think Hasenhüttl may be the one, but I think they may go to Red Bull and go, we need that Wunderkind. How much do you need? How much do you need? Because Nagelsmann's the next one. If Pep doesn't win the Champions League this season, TikTok, sayonara. So honestly, I don't think the manager market matters. Is Roman Abramovich still there? If he's still there, is Marina still there? That's the model. Folks, how am I going to go against Roman Abramovich and what I see? 16 major trophies in 18 years. I'm sorry, that's not a blip. That's what it is now. Chelsea's winning. Why change it if it doesn't work? Be consistent. You know, the worst thing you can ever do in business is try and follow other people. That's how businesses go to die. That's how Nokia died. That's how BlackBerry died. iPhone doesn't die. You know why? They don't have an identity crisis. Because what are they going to do? We're going to make a great laptop and a great cell phone. Microsoft is trying to make pads. They're trying to make this. They're trying to make games. Steve Jobs, I'm going to make the best phone, the best laptop. That's it. iPod, terrible. Scan it. Can it. We don't want to compete with everybody. We make the best phone, make the best laptop. Chelsea shouldn't try and compete with everybody else. Don't try and be Man United. Don't try and be a dead model. Is Roman still there? Chelsea will keep winning because I've got 18 years of evidence of the most successful model in English football. 16 trophies. No one's actually, if you go and look at the records, nobody's actually close to Chelsea over the last 18 years. And I know people don't like it because it's not romantic. But I'll repeat, you should always dislike your leader a little bit. If you like your leader and it's buddy, trust me, it's going to be a problem down the road. Don't pick cool leaders. Pick leaders that'll make the right decisions, not the popular decision. Everybody thought he was crazy. Andre Villas-Boas, 6 months, gone. What happened? Everybody thought he was crazy. Antonio Conte comes in. What happened? League, first season. Everybody thought he was crazy. Of course, the Tinker Man goes. What happens? He brings in Jose Mourinho, and well, the rest is history. 15 goals conceded and a record-setting dynasty. One of 3 dynasties in the history of the Premier League. 16 trophies in 18 years. You can't fight that. No one's close to it. So, honestly, Gulke, I don't even care who the manager is. Is Roman there? That's all I care about. Arsenal model has changed twice since Wenger left, by the way. Of course it has. Because they got an identity crisis. Folks, stop getting stuck in the ways of 15 years ago. Having a Wenger, having a Fergie is impossible now. The agents are too powerful. The players are too powerful. There's player power now. There wasn't player power then. You can't have, the model has to change. Don't be an analog product. It's a digital time. You have to change. Listen, in evolution, I come from a sciences background. In evolution, right? The greatest trait isn't the strongest, the fastest. That's not how you survive. You know how you survive in evolution? The animals, 99% of all animals that have ever been on this earth are dead. You know what the 1% have done that have survived? Adapt. And the rule is the same in business. It's not the strongest. It's not the biggest. Nokia were the biggest. BlackBerry were the biggest. The focus is, can they adapt? No, they couldn't. Kodak were the biggest. Could they adapt? iPhone adapted. In evolution, in business, it's not about being the biggest, the strongest, the fastest. It's about, can you adapt? Arsenal and Man United did not adapt to the new way of doing it. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, ahead of the curve. Chelsea, ahead of the curve. Man City, ahead of the curve. You don't have to like it. Listen, and what I like about Chelsea is people will keep talking about plastic and buying your history and blah, blah, blah. Roman doesn't care. We're going to keep winning. And we're going to keep doing it the new way. You don't have to like something for it to be the right decision. So Arsenal, I don't even know what the Arsenal model is. What's the Man United model? Because they went from a British coaching style with Moyes, then they went to a highly technical tiki-taka Ajax style, right? The Cruyff sort of total football with LVG. Then they went to Jose Mourinho, and then they went to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Those are 4 completely different philosophies. And this is what happens, right, when you follow, when you're broken, is you'll try and be everybody else. So Man United are going to have to rebuild, and that's going to take another 4 or 5 years. People are getting excited about Ole. Listen, it's hard to win. You can see Champions League, no, sir. It ain't going to work. Jesse saying, last week you were backing Lampard, now you're moving on. Listen, I was backing Lampard because I thought, you know what, is stability is key. But having thought about it, Roman Abramovich is stability, right? Is like a strict parent. You're not going to like it when they make the harsh decision, when they tell your friends to go home, right? Is you got bad marks. But when you're an adult and you're like, oh, they were making the right decision, not the popular decision. Roman is the stability. I got caught up in my fields. So, Jesse, you did right. Listen, I'm happy to be wrong. I'll tell you tomorrow where I was right, where I was wrong. And folks, we'll finish off on this. Remember, MKT inspires. By the way, like, share, subscribe. If you like the content, before you go, push the like. If you don't like the content, go back to, I don't know, maybe doing a puzzle or fighting with your girlfriend or whatever you were doing before this. Just act like this didn't happen. Otherwise, if you do like the content, click that one. Like, share, subscribe. This is the best show that your friends haven't seen. Like, share, subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. We'll finish off with Guhle Nkosi saying, Brendan, you should look at the owner for the long-term plan. They will always outlast the manager. The owner is the most important person in football. Guhle, I think you're echoing what I've been saying. Just forget the Wenger thing. Folks, there are 20 teams in the league. Let me give you some homework. Go and look at the rotation at every other club in the last 20 years, other than Man United and other than Arsenal. Don't get caught up in anomalies. Man United are not the model for success. They had an anomaly. It's like saying, all right, go and find a left-footed Argentine because there's one at Barcelona, and that's how to be successful. There's only one Fergie in a generation. Perhaps in the history of mankind. There's only one Giovanni Trapattoni. There's only one Arrigo Sacchi, right? There's only one. There's only one Johan Cruyff. There's only one Ronaldinho. There's only one Cristiano Ronaldo. They may not come again in our lifetime ever. Fergie, and this may hurt Man United fans, Man United are not a model for success. They are an anomaly. Just because you have a solar-powered car, it doesn't mean you're going to be Tesla. You need a whole lot of factors for that to work. And you know what, folks? I tell you what Fergie's great trick was. Start managing in 1986. Because let me tell you something. And some Man United fans, because of the recency bias, don't realize it took Alex Ferguson 6 years to win a title. Everybody gets caught up in now. Fergie was the greatest. He did nothing wrong. He's just a man. He took 6 years. So if you want to have a long time in a club, I tell you what, get in the DeLorean, go back and manage in 1986. When there wasn't Man City, when there wasn't Chelsea, right? When there wasn't Leicester, when there wasn't Everton with big money. Folks, that model is over. The greatest thing you can do in life, in evolution, it is not being the fastest, right? Survival is not being the fastest. It's not the strongest. It's can you adapt? And if you're honest tonight, as I let you go, Man United and Arsenal have not adapted. Man United is the biggest club. They're the biggest financial muscle. The business model was broken. They were looking for another Fergie. For goodness sake, they got another Glaswegian. They thought, let's shave 30 years of Fergie. Let's get an authoritarian figure in here. Can he coach? No, but he's authoritarian and he's Glaswegian. He's got that sort of Celtic thing. Please. What happened? Jose Mourinho came back. Antonio Conte came back, said, we're coaching circles around this guy. He can't coach. He can't do it. He can't manage. Carlo Ancelotti came and managed circles around everyone. You've got to be able to coach. And the head coach model with the football director, it's the only way to go. Adapt or die, folks. It is not about being the biggest. It's not about being the strongest. It is about adapting. Farewell, Frank Lampard. It is what it is. Roman Abramovich is the business model. Roman Abramovich is stability at Chelsea Football Club. Get out your fields and realize in the last 18 years, nobody's been Chelsea. 16 trophies. That the only common denominator is Roman Abramovich. They've all come and they've gone. They've come and they've gone. The Roman Empire still stands and Chelsea still stand. And I'm afraid this is the future. And welcome to it. For tonight, folks, thank you so much for joining us. You could have been anywhere with anybody. And before you go, once again, like, share, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. The best sports show. By the way, your friends haven't seen. So please be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe. Cliff Central Sport on all social media platforms. I am MKT. That's Mike Kilo Tango on all social media platforms. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel. We've got some great things coming in February. You'll see, once again, please let your friends know that we will be moving. The time slot for the show will be moving in February, right? We are moving to midday. 12 o'clock, we're moving to a different format. 12 o'clock till 2 o'clock, I'll keep you company. If you're at work and you need to find a way to lie to your boss, I know what guys do. You put those earphones in. Let's talk sport. Let me keep you company. I'll talk nonsense in this mic while you got to survive at work and get through the drudgery. If I can talk nonsense to a microphone and you're with me, 12. Remember, it'll be 12 midday to 2 p.m. every single day. I'll talk the latest football, cricket, rugby, whatever it may be, international sports. And by the way, please feel free to email me. sport@cliffcentral.com. But for tonight, you could have been anywhere with anybody for whatever reason you chose to be with me. My name is MKT, Mbulelo Kaeletu Tinta. This is my show. I've got such a big ego. I've named a show after myself. It is the MKT Show. And this is Cliff Central Sport. That's Gareth Cliff. I'm MKT. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure for tonight. But for now, we are the hell out of here.